You've seen my videos on cayenne pepper, you've seen my videos on spicy foods, but I want to talk about the mother of all spices. And I'm not talking about turmeric, I'm talking about curry in general. And why going to your favorite Indian food restaurant might not be the worst thing for your waistline if you can manage to time it right and choose the right kind of thing. I'm talking about curry powder. So today I want to break down the 5 to 6 different components of curry powder, depending on which brand you go for, that ultimately make it one of the best, most powerful anti-inflammatory spices, as well as a tremendous fat burner. I'm going to start with my personal favorite, and that is turmeric. So turmeric obviously is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory spices that is out there, containing about 5% of something called curcumin, and that curcumin is what gives it that yellow color. So turmeric is shown to be not only an antioxidant, but an antimicrobial, meaning it can fight off bacteria. It's an anti-mutagenic, which means that it can help cell mutation, but it can also help mucus. It's also an anti-cancer, and that has been proven by multiple studies. And lastly, but not least, is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory agents, helping the flow of prostaglandins out of the body so that your body can recover the quickest and fastest possible way. Now, one of the biggest benefits of turmeric all around is that there aren't typically drug interactions with turmeric. In fact, upon multiple studies, it's been found that turmeric is one of the most basic spices that you can use, also a supplement, that isn't going to interfere with anything that you're taking. Now, of course, I'm not a doctor, so I have to say that with a grain of salt, but generally speaking, regardless of the medication or other supplements that you're on, turmeric still has the positive benefits. Now let's roll into the next ingredient in curry. Some curry powders contain black pepper, and I want to explain that correlation between black pepper and turmeric, because again, I've done videos talking about that subject. So in the last section, I explained how turmeric contains something called curcumin, and that curcumin is the bioactive compound that actually helps our bodies in multiple ways. Now here's the thing. Curcumin is so bioactive that the liver actually sees it as a medication sometimes, and the job of the liver is to filter things like that. So unfortunately, what happens is the liver ends up processing so much of that curcumin that we aren't even absorbing about 95% of it. So we need black pepper, and the reason that we need black pepper is because there's something called piperine in that black pepper. Now, without that piperine, that black pepper really is useless. We're just talking about that one component, piperine, that is 5% of the black pepper. Now that 5% of that black pepper activates that 5% of curcumin in that turmeric, making it one of the most powerful things that we can possibly consume. You see, the way that that piperine in the black pepper works is it tells our liver to basically inhibit that drug deactivation. So you have to be careful when you take black pepper with other medications because sometimes it can make them more potent. It more or less temporarily disables the liver from being able to process those kind of poisons that are in medications a lot of times. And just to throw a little research to back it up, in an ancient study way back when in 1998, Planta Medica found that just a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper activated turmeric or curcumin by over 2,000%. That's literally a 2,000% increase in the bioavailability of turmeric just by adding black pepper. Now we break it down to the next spice in curry, and that is cumin. Pretty powerful taste. You either love it or you hate it. I didn't know if you know this or not, but cumin is one of the most powerful antimicrobials that there is. Meaning if you have some kind of bacterial infection or a bacterial infection in your mouth, cumin can be one of the few natural substances that can help mitigate that issue. Now, a lot of people didn't know this, but cumin is also exceptionally high in curcumin, that same active compound that's in turmeric. So if you don't like the taste of turmeric for any reason, you can always use that cumin because it is the second highest in curcumin, only next to turmeric. Then we roll on to the next most pungent taste when it comes to curry, and that's ginger. Now, not everyone's a fan of ginger, but a lot of times when it's roped into a mix with curry, it kind of masks the taste a little bit and it's not quite so powerful. Now the thing is, ginger is one of the most powerful spices when it comes to easing your stomach. That's why you see so many ginger teas out there. That's why you see so many ginger elixirs. You've probably seen my video talking about what you can drink in the morning that utilizes ginger to help lower stomach acid levels or help reduce nausea. Well, in addition to that, it's also a tremendous antimicrobial, tremendous anti-inflammatory, and of course, a powerful antioxidant. But the part that I want to focus on the most with ginger is the fact that it can stimulate blood flow. Now here we are, we're doing all these things that we can to reduce inflammation, to help fight cancer, to help fight disease, to help fight bacteria, But if we don't have the right kind of blood flow, what good is that doing? You see, if you're diabetic, for instance, and you have a high level of blood sugar, one of the reasons that's bad is because you essentially have like a maple syrup flowing through your veins. Well, if that's the case, think about it. You're not getting nutrient delivery. That's why you can end up with neuropathy. That's why you can end up with so many issues. So ginger helps stimulate that blood flow. If we can get the blood moving, we can get nutrients delivered to where they need to go, but we can also expedite the removal of things that shouldn't be there. So in effect, combining all those ingredients can be the most powerful cocktail that you can possibly imagine. Which leads me into my next one, which is coriander. Now, coriander is noted to be something that can help regulate blood sugar. Now, I've talked about turmeric being something that can help your blood sugar as well, but coriander is even more powerful at that. So as we're talking about diabetes in that last section, you can imagine that coriander is a great insult to injury when you're combining the spices to get the most out of one particular meal. And lastly, we want to talk about chili powder. So when we look at curry, it varies from spice to spice. Sometimes you have one that's a little bit more spicy, sometimes you have one that's not as spicy. But the main thing that we want to look at when it comes to curry and when it comes to the spices is the fact that there's something called capsaicin in it. And that capsaicin can dramatically increase your metabolism from meal to meal, but it also has a myriad of other benefits like substance P that can help reduce pain in a specific area. It can help reduce stomach upset. There's even some link with it helping stomach ulcers. Last but not least, capsaicin is shown to have a strong cardiovascular benefit. So if we can take capsaicin in its plain form or when it's just mixed up with a series of spices like this, you are going to get a 5 to 10% metabolism increase for about 45 minutes after consuming said meal with that spice. But you're also going to increase your blood flow, you're going to help your heart out, and of course you're going to help expedite the removal of toxins. So what's the takeaway from this? Well, the takeaway ultimately is use curry whenever you can. And if you look at my other videos that talk about how turmeric can help your blood sugar levels, at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to lunchtime being one of the best times to incorporate curry. It's also realistic. Maybe you want to go down to the Indian buffet. Maybe you want to go to the Indian restaurant down the street when you leave the office or you leave work for a little bit. That's going to be your best time. Just make sure that you're paying attention to the other nutrients that you're consuming at the time so you don't supersede the positive benefits of curry with some negative benefits of maybe trans fats or other foods that shouldn't be in the equation. Well, as always, keep it locked in here on my videos. Go enjoy some of that curry, and better yet, couple it with some coconut milk so you get those medium chain triglycerides and get the most out of your diet. As always, see you in the next video.